It is generally accepted that tourism has become an integral part of human life only with the development of scientific and technological progress. Now we can simply buy a plane or train ticket, pack a backpack with the most necessary things, and go conquer the world. But just recently, a couple of centuries ago, traveling was not so easy. Boom tourism dates back to the 19th century when new horizons and opportunities began to open up for all of humanity. It was the age of travel, the era of explorers and pioneers. Almost every aristocratic family of that time could afford to go to a neighboring country for a couple of weeks, taking a decent number of bags with them. Enormous luggage followed those who wanted to see the world. Wealthy people hired special workers who packed all the things needed for travel into suitcases. They hired separate personnel who formed and laid out this luggage so that it would not get damaged and, most importantly, would not get wet. Isn't it strange to hear about this now? But one day, everything changed. In 1858, the first flat suitcase of its kind, called Trianon, was presented in Paris. And it was invented by the man whose name is now on everyone's lips. This is how the world first heard the name Louis Vuitton. The first Louis Vuitton workshop was opened in Paris in 1854, and it was destined to become a symbol of the highest quality and luxury. But first things first, the founder of the French fashion house Louis Vuitton was born on August 4th, 1821, in the small town of Lons-le-Saunier in the south of France. From childhood, he was destined to go through a difficult path. Every day, the boy helped his father, working on the farm from early morning until late evening. There was not enough money for a normal life. He ate once a day. All his clothes were darned and altered several times, and sometimes he had to sleep right at his place of work. At the age of 10, fate gave him a not very good surprise. His mother died of an unknown disease, and a little later his father died. And life turned out to be far from sweet and fabulous. Already at the age of 13, in search of a better life, Vuitton left his father's house and went alone on foot to Paris. He had to walk 470 kilometers of the road into the unknown to get from his native village to Paris, the city where all dreams come true. This little journey took the boy several years. Along the way, he stopped in small towns where he found part-time work and food. He cleaned shoes, helped unload goods, worked in the field, and sold flowers. Kind people helped him with lodging, fed him, and shared their life stories. And only at the age of 16, Louis Vuitton finally reached Paris. The first few weeks of his stay in the fashion capital were real hard labor for the young guy. He wandered the streets in search of work and slept wherever he could. Life was tough for him until one day he saw a beautiful box with well-packed things inside in the shop window. Its shape, color, and curves attracted Louis so much that he even dared to go inside to see all the beauty not through the glass of the shop window. The shop was full of visitors. Louis immediately noticed that the workers were not coping with the work due to the large influx of people. Then, plucking up his courage, he approached the head of the shop and offered his help. Perseverance and determination, and most importantly the desire to work, left no one indifferent. And the next day the guy became a full-fledged employee in the workshop, Mission Marichal, one of the successful manufacturers of boxes, chests, and packages. It is worth noting that in Europe in the 19th century, the manufacture of boxes and packing of luggage was a very respectable and popular craft. It was thanks to his persistence that, after just a few years, Louis earned a reputation among wealthy Parisians as one of the best practitioners of this business. At the age of 33, Vuitton, already an enviable groom with a good salary and status, married 17-year-old Clemence Emily Pario. Together, a year later, they opened their workshop in one of the industrial suburbs of Paris, Asnières-sur-Seine. In 1854, Louis opened his workshop on the Rue des Capucines near the Place Vendôme. The sign at the main entrance, which read "Securely packing the most fragile items," specialized in packing fashion. Most of his work at the very beginning consisted of individual orders. For example, in 1856, one of the orders for the workshop was the manufacture of trunks for transporting ponies for one of the famous French circuses, Rancy. But all this did not quite suit the man. No, of course, the business was going uphill. There was enough money as well as orders, but he was just one of hundreds of the same masters. Louis was so good at his craft that he decided to do something that could make him famous and famous. He thought for a long time, looked for options. What else could be invented? Because, as it seemed at first glance, everything had already been invented before him. But still, a brilliant idea came to him, and later this idea became a reality. It was in 1858 that Vuitton presented his revolutionary waterproof trunks to the world, rectangular shapes with rounded lids, using canvas for the lining, not leather. They became so successful that they determined the shape of travel bags for the next 70 years. Trianon is the world's first suitcase with a flat lid that opens from the side. Previously, suitcases had only a convex shape and opened from the top so that water did not accumulate on the surface during rain. Trianon was covered with waterproof fabric, and the flat shape made it much more compact, thanks to which now suitcases could be stacked on top of each other. The success of the new model was also because people began to actively travel by rail. The convenience of the new accessory attracted the wealthiest public. It was an incredible success. Orders poured in for Louis in the hundreds, and this miracle suitcase became known far beyond the borders of France. But as often happens, a black stripe follows a white one. Even then, Louis Vuitton faced a large-scale problem. His suitcases were actively counterfeited. But the man decided that since he was the first to come up with this idea, his suitcases should be different from all the others. And that is why, to give his products individuality, it was decided to develop an original color scheme that would stand out against the dull and familiar shades of other suitcases and bags. To stand out from competitors, first a brown-beige stripe appeared, and then a checkerboard print, which even now, many years later, is associated only with this brand. From the first days, the store's clients were wealthy people who knew a lot about quality and beauty. One of them was Napoleon III's wife, Eugenie. Thanks to her, the Louis Vuitton store attracted the attention of a large number of rich people in the country, thereby ensuring the success of his future career. From that moment on, things were rapidly going up. In 1867, Louis received a bronze medal at the international exhibitions in Paris for his contribution to society, because the whole world now traveled only with Louis's suitcases. But everything was not as fabulous and good as it seemed. In 1871, as a result of the Franco-Prussian War, the workshop was destroyed and most of the equipment and tools were simply stolen. It was a difficult time for our hero, who devoted all his efforts to the development of this direction. He quickly took matters into his own hands and was able to restore production in a short period. The demand for his products was so high that in 1885 Vuitton opened his first store outside of France. Stores in London were especially popular. After the opening of a boutique on the shores of foggy Albion in 1885, the inscription Marque L. Vuitton Dépose began to appear on each unit of production, guaranteeing 100% authenticity of the goods. Louis was prudent here too. At that time, it was difficult to counterfeit. From 1857 to 1936, Vuitton and his son Georges were in charge of the fashion house, and in 1886, together, they patented a spring lock, the design of which is still used today. All models of locks were stored in the workshops in case the owner needed another key. All the time, right up until his death, Louis devoted himself to his favorite business. He invented and developed convenient handles for carrying trunks and locks, and tried to change the corner inserts on suitcases, giving them a more elegant design. He has about 100 discoveries and innovations to his credit, many of which we use today, and do not even guess that they were invented 100 years ago by the son of a poor farmer. The great master, and he can rightfully be called that, died at the age of 70, after which the whole business passed into the hands of his son, Georges Vuitton. It was under him that the legendary monogram with flowers, diamonds, and the letters LV appeared in memory of his father. The first chest with such an unusual design appeared back in 1897 and is still used today. The son of the legendary founder set a global goal for himself. He decided that he simply had to do everything to bring the brand to the international level. And he succeeded. Thanks to Georges, new stores were opened in New York and Buenos Aires, and it was he who opened the largest and most famous store in Paris, located on the Champs-Élysées. In 1901, the Stimier back was released, which became the prototype of modern backpacks. In 1925, by order of Coco Chanel, Squareback was created. But the most popular women's handbags of the Kipel model appeared already in 1930, which, by the way, were originally conceived as bags for carrying dirty laundry. This model remains one of the most popular even today. Georges was succeeded by his son Gaston Louis Vuitton, Louis Vuitton's grandson, who transformed the brand and made adjustments to its design. During his reign, the legendary print became smaller and could be placed on all products. During World War II, the Louis Vuitton brand maintained ties with the Nazis. The company prefers not to remember this historical period, but some facts from that time are still publicly available. It is known that at the entrance to the brand boutique in Paris, there was a sign with a fascist-oriented text, "No entry for Jews." But even after all these events, decades later, the brand remained a sign of status and good taste, as well as impeccable quality. Louis's descendants were not inferior to him in entrepreneurship and opened brand boutiques all over the world. The 1970s were a period of relaunch and rapid development for Louis Vuitton. The company grew in the early 70s from 2 exclusive stores and 11 million euros in sales revenue to 125 stores generating 600 million euros by 1989. In 1987, Louis Vuitton merged with another luxury and large brand, Moët Hennessy, to form a holding company called LVMH. Today, it owns more than 70 brands such as Christian Dior, Hennessy, Givenchy, Kenzo, and so on. Louis Vuitton bags and suitcases are popular with many world-famous stars and the most famous personalities, such as Princess Diana, Audrey Hepburn, Angelina Jolie, and Kim Kardashian. What is surprising is that the technology for making suitcases has not changed since the first workshop. The suitcase's body is still made of poplar. The corner protection elements and those same reliable locks have been preserved. It is also worth noting that the company provides a lifetime warranty for all products. And if there are signs of wear, scratches, or accidental damage, they are restored in special repair services. In other words, you are essentially buying a suitcase for life. In 1989, control over the company was acquired by one of its main shareholders, the French billionaire Bernard Arnault. In 1997, Marc Jacobs became the creative director of the brand. Thanks to him, the company reached a new level. For the first time, he dressed the model in rough men's boots and light silk dresses. Under his leadership, the brand released collections of men's and women's clothing and footwear, exclusive accessories, and jewelry. Each new show is a show where models ride carousels, get out of the elevator, and go down the escalator. Marc worked for the company for 16 years. In November 2013, the young messiah Nicolas Ghesquière, who had previously worked with Jean-Paul Gaultier and brought the Balenciaga brand to a new level, became the head of the entire women's clothing line. The first collection that Nicolas released while already working at Louis Vuitton was dubbed a triumph by the entire press. His new look at the brand's aesthetics and inspiration from the 60s and 70s radically changed the concept of the company. Today, This luxury fashion house has its brand stores in 53 countries around the world. It is known that according to the company's tradition, all unsold bags are returned to Paris, where they are burned. This is done to avoid counterfeits and remain the only brand in the world responsible for its quality and originality. In 2016, a collection of fragrances for women compiled by Jacques Cavalier went on sale in many Louis Vuitton boutiques, and in 2018, Eau de Toilette for Men was released. Since the summer of 2019, the company has begun to produce unisex perfumes, which immediately win the hearts of all fans of this brand. Louis Vuitton bags are considered the most expensive in the world. Their price varies from $5,000 to $55,000. There are also Louis Vuitton contraceptives, the cost of one piece of which is $65. Bags, clothes, and accessories, which Louis Vuitton never sells wholesale or at discounts, are the perfect combination of classic and modern. Louis Vuitton was the first brand to use celebrities, singers, and actors as models in advertising. Mikhail Gorbachev himself even appeared in one of the ads. The fortune of Louis Vuitton owner Bernard Arnault was estimated at $102 billion in 2017. He is among the top 10 richest people in the world. The most famous scandal that led to a lawsuit was against Britney Spears, Sony BMG, and MTV Online. The singer was found guilty of violating the law on trademark counterfeiting in the video for Do Something, which featured a dashboard covered in pink material with the Louis Vuitton logo. And TV moguls Sony BMG and MTV Online had to pay the brand $80,000 each for broadcasting the video. Another interesting fact, in 2014, a special custom order was made for the prima ballerina of the Mariinsky Theater Diana Vishneva. The suitcase contained 6 packs and 18 pairs of pointe shoes, as well as the ballerina's accessories. And in 2019, the brand's best craftsman made a trunk for transporting the FIFA World Cup trophy. The 6-kilogram gold trophy, decorated with malachite, travels around the world in a safe box with the logo of this particular brand. It is worth noting that the French fashion house can be easily recognized not only by its unique print and monogram, but also due to the amazing quality of the goods. Boutiques opened in many countries bring the brand big profits every year and the status of one of the best and most successful in the world. And by the way, travel bag suitcases are still very popular and are sold out instantly. And the motto, "Every suitcase should combine high mobility and lightness," remains relevant to this day. Friends, have you ever had things from this brand? Be sure to write in the comments. Well, that's all for today. Rate the video. Bye.